To you, Captain. Yeah. All right. No problem. No problem. All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome back to our family recovery group or recovery support meeting. My name is Craig. I have a special guest here tonight by the name of Cliff with us. And so we're going to be going over an article that I believe you can retrieve online if you have some type of internet connection. You can go on or Wi-Fi, however. You can go on www.careaddiction.com. That is www.careaddiction.com. All right. And tonight's topic of discussion, not topic of discussion, tonight's title, and it will be scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and it is Barriers to Addiction Treatment. All right, barriers, plural, to addiction treatment. And so this article starts us off by stating, with so many individuals struggling with addiction, why not seek treatment? All right. Here are 8 of the most common reasons why individuals with addiction don't seek treatment and how to overcome those barriers. All right. We have 8 of them. All right. Good. Mike Mickey Williams Jr. He's on. All right. Good, buddy. Hope you're enjoying yourself while you're away. We got work to do, man. We busy around here. But anyway, enjoy yourself, buddy. All right, and so we're going to be tonight. We're going to be talking about barriers to addiction treatment. There's 8 of them that this article wants to share and talk about, but we know there are probably a host more, several more, but we're going to deal with the 8 that's before us. And the first one we want to talk about as a barrier is stigma. That's major. Stigma, people always got something to say, always want to put a label on people, always want to, say things that will hinder someone from getting help. And so that's why so many barriers. So stigma is number 1. And stigma, this article says, fear of judgment or discrimination from society, friends, or family members can prevent individuals from acknowledging their need for help. While the stigma behind recovery is very real, the truth is addiction is a disease in which a person finds themselves unable to stop using a substance or stop engaging in a behavior. There is no shame in getting help. All right. Word to the wise, as this article says, there is no shame in getting help. How can this barrier be overcome? I'm glad you asked. The article says stigma can be addressed by challenging negative attitudes and perceptions about addiction by advocating for understanding and acceptance within communities. Substance abuse is the only disease where you get lectured by your spouse, your friends, or even your employer. Articles go on to say, if it was a disease like diabetes, others would show more compassion and be empathetic. Like other, so there's other disease. So this has been, substance abuse has been proven fact that it is a disease. Some people need professional help. Some people need medication to help them deal with a whole host of things that will trigger them or trap them back into the cycle using again once they have been through either detoxification process or residential treatment where they learn coping skills. The next one we want to talk about, we're going to cover 8 of them. Cliff, that's all right with you? All right. So that's the number 1, stigma. The second one, all right, number 2, Abraham. Glad you could join us tonight. All right. Good afternoon, Doc. All right. The second one is denial. All right. This article says some people may not recognize or acknowledge the severity of their addiction, leading to resistance and seeking treatment. In fact, denial is the first of 5 stages of recovery, also known as pre-contemplation, right? Individuals often feel their usage is completely under control and continue to deny they have a problem. They may even feel their problems are caused by outside factors and not the addiction itself. How can this barrier be overcome? Recovery often begins with overcoming denial. So one of the things I learned when I went to a first step meeting, they talked about admitting that you have a problem. So once you admit something, you're not in denial. So let's say that's the first stage of recovery, by admitting I have a problem, that this thing is unmanageable, uncontrollable, and I need help. So individuals often feel their usage is completely under control and continue to deny they have a problem. They may even feel the problems are caused by outside factors and not the addiction itself. Recovery often begins with overcoming denial. The support of loved ones, intervention, therapy, and education can help. The best way to approach someone with addiction and denial is in a compassionate, listen up, in a compassionate, non-confrontational manner. Sometimes, we can be, real aggressive when it comes to that. I'm sick and tired of you. As the article says, this is a disease. And so a lot of times you wouldn't treat a person with diabetes that aggressive. You would try to find ways and solutions. Since attacking or pressuring them can sometimes reinforce their denial, loved ones can learn about addiction, treatment options, and available resources to make informed decisions, so they are prepared when the individual is ready to acknowledge that they need help, right? And so that is so true. All right. The next one we want to talk about, I need to see you, young lady. I have to see you in order to get credit. There you go. Hello there. You may wave.
Hi.
All right, good. I'm glad you could join us. All right, so the next one we want to talk about lack of awareness. Limited knowledge about available treatment options, resources, or where to seek help can be a barrier to seeking addiction treatment, right? Limited knowledge about available treatment options, resources, or where to seek help can be a barrier to seek addiction treatment. That's why they have this center here. I'm glad they have it, because a lot of people don't know how, first of all, go about how to go about getting treatment. And so recovery coaches, peer recovery coaches, I don't want to leave that out, peer, because a lot of times people may think, okay, this guy, he may look down on me, but I'm a peer. And that means I'm someone with lived experience, and so I know what it's like to go through using alcohol and using drugs. I have experience. I have so much experience. I don't want to get into that, but I got a lot of experience. Right? And so how can this be overcome? Lack of awareness. How can that be overcome? The best way to combat a lack of awareness is to learn about addiction. treatment options, and available resources to make informed decisions. If a loved one is struggling with addiction and not seeking treatment, learning about addiction and treatment yourself can help you be a resource when they are ready to open up about their challenges. So a lot of times people need help navigating, because if you never uh, call someone for a screening for admittance into a detox or residential, you might be hesitant. You might don't know there's more places than Maryville. Maryville has an outpatient and inpatient. But then there's surrounding areas like John Brooks, Recovery Center of America. These mostly local within our, but then there's places some people don't want to go too far. There's some people say, I need to go far. And sometimes we may suggest, hey, listen, you keep going local, you keep coming back, people, places, and things. We need to change that. We need to change that outlook and that perspective. Maybe because I know if I would have went back to where I'm used to reside, I'd probably be back in the throes of relapse, whatever. But people, I understand people, places, and things. So by me relocating, it served me best, And so I'm really happy that I could be able to share this information and hopefully help somebody along the way. All right. You got anything you want to say, Mr. You sure? All right, man. Jump in. Don't leave me out there by myself, beloved. All right, next one. Accessibility issues and financial constraints. What that look like, what that sound like. Geographic distance from treatment facilities, transportation challenges, or long waiting lists for service can make it difficult for individuals to access treatment. In addition, the cost of treatment, lack of insurance coverage, or inability to afford treatment expenses can hinder access to care. All right? It says, according to a 2022 Access to Care survey, various obstacles can hinder or postpone treatment. These include cost, availability, wait times, and lack of diversity of care providers, and the proximity of care facilities. A lot of times we deal with people who may be willing to go to treatment, but they may not have the transportation. And so that may become a big barrier for a lot of people, So that's why we find places who may have their own transportation. We used to have our own transportation. Sometimes they'll send an Uber, and that makes it convenient, for the person who really want to go get some help. You know what I mean? How can this be overcome? Just because you hear rehab isn't covered by insurance, don't assume it to be true. Make sure to talk to your insurance provider. You can still find rehab without insurance. Explore options for financial aid, such as scholarships, sliding scale payment plans, loans and credit options, or government funded programs like Medicare and Medicaid to help cover treatment costs. And so most of the population that we deal with, those who may come and ask for help, they may have Medicaid or Medicare. And so they cover. If they have those, and then sometimes, like the article says, some people may not have either or. And so they might say, man, I don't have no insurance, I don't have no ID, you know what I mean? So 9, 10 of the time, they're going to cancel out themselves from going to treatment because they don't have those documents. But we're here to provide that so we can help with temporary ID, all right? And that will help the person get directly into treatment. Then we could reach out to certain facilities who have said funding set aside, and so they may be eligible for those grants and funding. And so there's a whole lot of help out here. If someone is willing and ready for help, do not hesitate to reach out. If you live in the Cumberland County area, reach out to Capital Recovery Center. We are here. We can help you with that process. Next one, fear of withdrawal. Ooh, this is major, man. Now for people who use cocaine, there is no withdrawal from cocaine. But people who may be using fentanyl, heroin, alcohol, not to say one is worse or less than the other, but that requires professional help. All of it requires professional help, but the detox from it, is something else.
It's more serious.
Well, I don't want to say one's serious than the other because a lot of times, and the next one we're going to talk about co-occurring disorders. And so just because a person may be using cocaine and may not need detox, they still need to get away from indulging or using the substance as a whole. And there might be a co-occurring, when I say co-occurring, we're talking about the mental health aspect along with the substance. So all that needs to be taken into consideration. Fear of withdrawal. This article says the physical and psychological discomfort associated with alcohol and drug withdrawal symptoms can deter individuals from seeking treatment. And another thing, just because a person is using cocaine, that don't mean that they're not using alcohol. Because sometimes I know when I was using cocaine, I would drink alcohol or another drug to bring the cocaine high down, making them mellow me out. And so there are many, what I want to say, that may not be their drug of choice, but they still may be using other drugs in the process of using cocaine. That makes sense? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so it said, while the majority of withdrawal symptoms are not fatal, some alcohol withdrawal symptoms require immediate medical attention. How can this be overcome? Learning effective coping skills to manage withdrawal symptoms, cravings, and stress during the recovery process is the best way to overcome fear of withdrawal. For some, medically assisted detox, MAT, that's what we call it, or medication-assisted treatment can soothe the physical symptoms of withdrawal or alleviate the craving and urges that come with it. You ever heard of MAT, Cliff? Medication-assisted treatment? You ever heard of methadone?
Oh, yeah.
That's MAT, medication-assisted treatment. Now, remember, we talked about drugs as a substance abuse as a disease. And so a lot of times people can't wing it off just by educational learning coping skills. They still may be faced with a lot of cravings and where they can't shake it. And so they may need MAT, medication-assisted treatment. Some people may need Suboxone. Some people may need Vivitrol. Some people may need methadone. These things will help them relieve the craving, so they won't even have the taste for the alcohol. They may not have the craving for the drug. You know what I mean? So people need help, and so we are here to help. All right, we almost done. Raekwon, we almost done.
Okay.
All right, I'm glad you stayed with me. I'm glad. All right. So the next one we're going to talk about co-occurring disorders. Mental health issues such as depression or anxiety may complicate addiction treatment. and deter individuals from seeking help. How can this be overcome? It can be hard to approach a loved one struggling with addiction and mental illness. A good approach is to start by acknowledging mental health is not a moral flaw. It's a disease, just like addiction to substances is a disease. In addition, be a good listener, practice empathy, and encourage them to seek integrated treatment approaches that address both addiction and any underlying mental health issues. All right. And so I'm someone who was treated for co-occurring mental health issues as well. And my mental health stemmed from PTSD, all right, post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I would numb, what they call numbing, in order to deal with coping or life stresses or situation. I would either drink or use drugs. That was my outlet. Even though the problem would still be there once I wasn't using, but still that the PTSD required that I need to face the reality that those stresses or those incidents or those actions or things that the trauma that I may have suffered still need to be addressed. And I need to look on it head on. What was it like, you know? And so now it allows me to take accountability and say, you know what? Oh, I see, you know, why I was doing that because X, Y, Z. And so now I understand, okay, that played a major role in my decision making. So now when I'm faced with conflict or I'm faced with altercations, or how do I handle that? Now I learn coping skills. Now I say, okay, well, now I can take a self-evaluation. I can look at myself. I can pause. I can evaluate the action, how I'm feeling at the time, what would be the appropriate way to respond to, let's say, conflict. So now I have conflict resolution skills. Then now I'm able to say, okay, I don't want to be just lash out on someone. Let me look at it from a different perspective. What if that person may be having a bad day? You know, it's not always my fault. It can be because they may be having. So now I could be more empathetic to them, you know, and say, you know what? I understand, you know, let's talk about it. Let's deal with it in a rational manner as opposed to being irrational. Before I used to fly off the handle. Who do you think you know? But it don't get us it don't get me nowhere, and it doesn't get, you know, the problems still don't get resolved. So I like to be the calm-headed person who can rationalize and figure things out intellectually. Ooh, I'm using big words tonight, huh? The next one, lack of social support. All right, we're talking about barriers to addiction treatment. All right, and some of the things that prevent people from going to treatment. And number 7 is lack of social support. Absent of supportive relationships or a stable environment can make it harder for individuals to commit to treatment. How can this be overcome? It's important to build a supportive environment and surround oneself with positive influences, establish healthy boundaries, and create a stable living environment. Building a sober social support network will be invaluable in recovery. I like that. Building a sober social support network. And that, what that look like, what that sound like to you, Cliff? building a sober social support.
It's building like a home with building yourself surrounded with people that are, I can't speak right.
You said it, you got it.
Surround yourself with people that have been there, done that,
Mm-hmm.
looking for better ways to.
That's right. That's right. Being around positive people, sober people, people who's going to encourage you, people who's going to support you, people who's going to hold you accountable, and going to let you know, say, hey man, that ain't right. Nah, I'll just do one. Nah, man, one is too many, you know? And so when you get around people, or like what we're doing now, this is what can be considered a sober social support network. You know, if you need something from me, I can help you. I can give you some advice. You can give me some advice. You know, we can build each other up instead of tearing each other down. That sound cool? All right. Raekwon, this is the last one.
Okay.
All right. All right. So the last one is previous unsuccessful attempts. I know I did that myself. Unsuccessful attempt. If you or somebody in your life seems to have an issue with alcohol or drug addiction, professional help may be the best option to help continue on the road to recovery. All right. And so, no, I read that wrong. Hold up, back up, rewind. We're going to remix that. Previous unsuccessful attempt. I was reading something at the bottom, I got distracted. And that's past experiences of relapse or unsuccessful treatment attempts can lead to feelings of hopelessness and reluctance to try again. How can this be overcome? Stay persistent. Addiction is a chronic condition, and relapse is often seen as a normal part of the recovery process. It is common for those attempting to overcome addiction to go through one or more relapses before successfully quitting. Maintain motivation, persistence, and resilience. That's my word right there. Resilience, being able to bounce back from an incident or any tragedy or any thing that will once held you from being successful. Resilience, all right? Never giving up. Keep moving forward. If you know, like riding a bike. You ever rode a bike before, bicycle?
Mm-hmm.
And when you first started riding a bike, what happened? You felt. How many times you may say?
3 times.
Huh?
3 times till you got it right.
That's right. 3 times till you got it right. And that's what resilience is, until you get it right. Even in the face of setbacks or challenges, and continue to seek help until the right treatment approach is found. All right, and so that's it for today. This week, I hope something was said may resonate, register in our walk and our recovery lifestyle. Hey, Raekwon, I'm so happy you joined. I'm glad you're doing well, and so I'll be in contact. All right.
Yes.
All right, then I'll see you. Take care.
Okay, you too.
All right, thank you. All right, Clip, man.
All
Nice having you on the show as well. Be good, man. All right.
Mm-hmm.